VOA, Learning English. This is the Health Report.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Health Report.
A United Nations official says nearly 95%.
A illustration article says nearly 95%
of African children living with AIDS
of African children living with AIDS
do not have a way to get treatment for the disease.
do not have way to get treatment for the disease.
Michelle Sidibe is executive director of the Joint
Michelle Sidibe is executive director of the Joint
UN program on HIV/AIDS.
UN program on HIV/AIDS.
Researchers have shown that infection with HIV
Research have shown that infection with HIV,
the human immunodeficiency virus,
the human immunodeficiency virus,
leads to development of the disease AIDS.
leads to development of the disease AIDS.
Mr. Sidibe spoke recently during a visit to Cameroon.
Mr. Sidibe broke recently during a visit to Cameroon.
There, people living with AIDS reported shortages
There, people in living with AIDS reported shortage
of antiretroviral drugs.
of antiretroviral drugs.
These are drugs that help control the HIV infection.
There are drugs that help control the HIV infection.
The UN official said that more than 90%
The UN official said that more than 90%
of the 3 million children infected with AIDS
of the 3 million children infected with AIDS
live in African countries south of the Sahara.
live in African countries south of the Sahara.
The disease has had major social and
The disease has had major social and
economic effects on the area.
economic effect on the area.
25 million people with AIDS
25 million people with AIDS
live in sub-Saharan Africa.
live in sub-Saharan Africa.
That represents about 70% of all cases.
That represent about 70% of all cases.
But people living with AIDS
But people living with AIDS
in sub-Saharan Africa
in sub-Saharan Africa
often do not have access
often do not have access
to medical treatment.
to medical treatment.
Mr. Sidibe said that has to change.
Mr. Sidibe said that had to change.
He said that only 6% of children
He said that only 6% of children
living with AIDS in Africa
living with AIDS in Africa
have access to treatment.
have access to treatment.
UNAIDS reported that only 24% of children
UNAIDS reported that only 24% of children
worldwide needing antiretroviral treatment received it in 2013.
Received it in 2013.
That year,
That year,
190,000 children
90 million children. That year, 190,000 children
died of the disease.
died of the disease.
Mr. Sidibe said many people with AIDS
Mr. Sidibe said many people with AIDS
die in silence.
die in silence.
In many places in Africa,
In many places in Africa,
talking about the disease remains something
talk about the disease remains something
that should not be discussed.
that should not be discussed.
Nguyen John has been
Nguyen John have been
living with AIDS for 15 years.
living with AIDS for 50 years.
He said it is very difficult to get complete
He said it is very difficult to get complete
treatment for the disease
treatment for the disease
because of a lack of medical supplies.
because of the lack of medical supplies.
For VOA Learning English,
For VOA Learning English,
I'm Jonathan Evans.
I'm Jonathan. Thank you.